What's up, everyone? All right, so here we are finishing the 15th consecutive green day. Guess what? Another $9,000 today. $9,125.18 on, I believe we had 6 trades and 6 winners. 100% accuracy today. I mean, I was on fire. They call me the stock market assassin. I killed the market so bad. It's gonna be closed tomorrow. It needs a day of rest. So literally the market will be closed tomorrow. It's not because I killed it so dead. It's gonna be because of mourning for George Bush. So anyways, markets are closed tomorrow. It's gonna be a day off. We'll be back at it Thursday and Friday. But man, this was a great start to December. I really wasn't expecting to have, such a good start here. But yesterday I made $1,200. Today, 9,000. So I'm up over 10,000 on the month on the second day. Still have the goal of about $50,000 minimum this month. You know, I'd really like to get to the $80,000, $100,000 mark. And with days like this, it could happen. But realistically, to get to the 100K mark, I'll probably be at, 100K month for me would be a month where I'm averaging about $4,000 to $5,000 a day, with a couple of home run days where I'm getting $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000, and a couple days that I'll just be maybe red at most $3,000 or break even. So it could be done, but the thing is, it's not really up to me. It's based on the market. If we have a hot market, if we have a lot of momentum, I can step up to the plate. I can be aggressive. I've got the account size to do it. But if things end up being slow, if we have a week where everything that pops up just fades right away, we don't see good follow through, well, then in that case, I'm just gonna have to sit tight, sit on my hands, and wait for stronger markets to prevail. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's the ebb and the flow of trading. You'll have hot markets, and then you'll have colder markets, and you just kind of gotta trade the market you're in, not the market you want to be in. If you get fixated on some big goal and you keep being really aggressive during, what is just definitely a cold market, guess what? You're gonna lose money. So can't get too bent out of shape about hitting some specific goal. Just be consistent as much as you can. Be in touch with the market you're in and manage your risk. All right, so anyways, that's about it for me today. Any questions, any comments, leave them below. You like the video, give us a thumbs up. You enjoy these videos, subscribe to the channel, and you will get alerts when I go live, which is every morning, right around 9:15 for my pre-market analysis. So I'll be doing it first thing on Thursday morning, live from New York City. I'll be trading from the city on Thursday and hopefully make a little bit more money and finish this week with some green trades. All right, so I'll see you guys first thing on Thursday morning. All right, everyone, so we're gonna do our midday market recap here, go over the trades from this morning. I'm finishing the morning here up $9,125.18. Not bad at all. It's always nice to be up close to $10,000. It was just about 2 weeks ago that I had a $22,000 day, which was very, very nice. So I'm not quite over the $10,000 mark, but pretty close. So $9,125.18 in 1 hour of day trading. I traded 2 stocks. I took probably a total of about 10 trades, and every one of those trades today was a winner. So I can feel pretty good about that. I'm going to put up my my P&L here from my trading platform. So you can see it right there, the 2 stocks I traded. SFET, this one was straight off the watch list. All right, so this morning started the same as any other morning. I didn't expect this was gonna be a $9,000 day. I really set the bar pretty low. Basically, this morning, I knew that today is only the second day of the month. I still need to build the cushion. I'm not quite in the driver's seat yet. Yesterday I made $1,200, which was a good day, but realistically I could lose $1,200, in one loss. So I wasn't really in, really in the driver's seat on the month yet. So I set a goal today of just being green, $500,000, but Of course, my first trade ended up being a pretty nice winner. So as you can see, the watch list or the gap scanner here, our leading gapper only had 2 shares of volume. So this one I didn't even look at. The second leading gapper was NVLN, gapping up 42%. The stock is priced at $1.40, 16 million share float, 600,000 shares of pre-market volume, and it did have a catalyst. So this was, a decent idea, but unfortunately by the time the bell rang, it was already trending down, so no trades on it. Second leading gapper, LEVB. I almost took a trade on this, but by the time the bell rang, it was also selling off, and I was kind of waiting for it to do a possible red to green move, and it just never did it. It gave a little pop right here, but it didn't end up actually going green on the day, so no trades on that one. The third leading gapper was SFET, and this is the one that I made $7,975 on. So pre-market, you can see it hit a high today of $9.13. So I'll put that up to high of day, or close to it anyways. All right. So pre-market, we were watching it, and what I said on this was, okay, it's got a headline. It's a contract with the Israeli government. It's not a big contract. It's only $160,000. Funny enough, I made like 5% basically as a day trade of their entire contract. But in any case, they've got a $160,000 contract, which we knew was a little small. 2 orders of $66,000. But at the same time, it's a contract. It is a catalyst, and the stock was up pre-market. I mean, it was up 23%. All right, so this stock had what we look for. It had the price between $1 and $10, gapping up 23%. The volume was 137,000 shares. It's not like no one saw it. It was being traded. The float was 468,000 shares. It's a very low float stock. So this had all of the 5 criteria that I look for in a stock to have home run potential. Just because it has the potential doesn't mean it's going to be a home run, but it definitely had home run potential. So as we were watching this pre-market, I was aware of the fact that it had kind of been trending down. It popped up here from 6 to 750. It pulled back, it popped back up, and then it made a new low. It broke the low of this level here as it sold off. But then it kind of started to base out right here under 7. So as we were getting closer to the bell ringing, I was sort of watching this level here, thinking that this may end up being a good setup for a break over 7. So I kind of marked out this little high here of 689 and the low of the pullback as being 639. I knew this would be my max loss on any trade, no doubt. If I could get a tighter stop, that would be better, but this was definitely the max loss. All right, so the bell rings, and the stock, for a moment, for the first minute, it doesn't actually do much of anything. And then the second minute, it pops all the way up from 689. It breaks that level, that little pre-market resistance, and it squeezes right up to $7.90. And it does it without me. I didn't take the trade on that. It just pops up on 50,000 shares of volume. It then drops all the way back down to $7. And I was like, I don't know about this. That's kind of a big range. I mean, that's interesting, but this could get me in trouble if I jump into it and, I buy the top and it drops right back down. So I gave it a second. This candle forms with a high of 749. All right, and now I'm like, okay, it's actually holding up relatively well. So I ended up taking a buy at $7.38, as you can see right here. Now, I went a little smaller on the share size. I took a starter there, only 3,000 shares. And you guys know, I don't have much of a problem trading with 9,000 or even 12,000 shares, but on this one, I didn't feel comfortable being that aggressive. I'm gonna close this down here for a second. That way we can look at the charts. Okay. I'll just close these also. I just won't save this after I close these. All right, so there we go. That's fine. So I'm in at $7.38.
All right, the next candle, it does break the high of 750, first 1 minute candle to make a new high, and it squeezes up to 790 and taps a high of $8. It then pulls back off that level, and what I decided to do on this first trade, in at 738, selling a small 200 shares at 787, hitting the bid at 760 to lock up some profit, selling more at 759, and then adding back as it surges up here. So it taps 8, it dips down, and it surges back up right here. I add 3,000 shares at 779 and sell a quarter of them at 798, 798, 809, a little more at 852 as it spikes up to 866. It pulls back right here, and then I add on the next pop at 846. It pops up, I sell a little bit at 882, 905, and I don't know what that was, probably a typo, and then the rest at 860. Now, right here at 913, it looked like it was about to get halted going up. And I was tempted to add going into the halt. I mean, once I saw that, I was tempted. But the fact that right here it had dropped down to 793 and popped up to here, I felt that adding up there, my stop was too far away and the risk was too high. And the fact that it had already done something like that earlier in the day where it squeezed up and then dropped down, I just felt like it would be an aggressive move to do that, and I wasn't sure I could trust that. So I decided not to add there. It pulls back, it kind of, pops back up again, but it doesn't hold that level. And, I end up stopping out of the rest of it, I think at 820 or something like that. Let's see, this is at 937. We might have one more trade on this in a second. So anyways, so this was SFET. So those first few trades, I made, I want to say about $3,000. All right. And then I have this trade on ANY. All right. So ANY pops up on the high day momentum scanner. It wasn't on the watch list pre-market, but it hits the scanner at whatever, like 9:30. SFET obviously on the scanner, hitting the scans, and then we'll have ANY right here at 558, 89, and I guess that might have been the only times it hit. All right, so I see ANY on the scanner, and I see that it has just made a pretty big move. From 460 up to 560, it pulls back. It then squeezes up here up to 601 or $6. It drops down, and I end up buying this little 1 minute micro pullback right here. I saw it pulling back, and I thought that it had a good chance of breaking over 6, and the daily chart showed room back up towards $8. So on this one, I took 6,000 shares at 83, and I added another 3,000 at 86, so I had 9,000 shares right here. It pops up to 6, but it wasn't able to break $6. And so what I did was I put an order at 97 just to sell the position because it seemed like there was a hidden seller at 6. And I got filled. I filled the whole position at 97. So boom, 9,000 shares, that's $1,100. In at 83, 85, 86, selling at 97. So, quick little trade there. My target was that it was going to break over 6 and I'd be selling the whole thing up around 610, 620, 630, but it just didn't break that level. So ended up being a smaller winner, relatively speaking. And so at that point, I was up about $4,000 on the day. All right, so in pretty good shape there. All right, so next trade is on SFET. So keeping SFET on watch because it was, obviously a big winner in the morning and clearly a stock worth keeping an eye on. I was still watching it pretty closely. So I'm gonna go back to the 1 minute chart. So the next trade was at 9:53. All right, so it's going sideways for a little bit here. It's kind of pulling back, as you can see right here. And I decided to take the first 5 minute candle to make a new high. So right down here, it pulls back to a low of 75. And I decided to jump in at 770, 783, and adding with my hotkey at 790. So I had 6,000 shares right here. It squeezes up to a high of 820 right here. I added at 817, so I had 7,500 shares, which was a pretty big position. I ended up selling, basically scalping right there at 717. I expected it was going to break over 820. I thought it was going to break that level right away. It didn't. It ended up only hitting 20. So I sold at 19, half my position. Or, yeah, I guess about half my position. See, that's 6,000. I wonder why. I'm not sure which order I used there. Oh, I guess I actually put an order to sell the whole thing. That was probably an accident. But in any case, sold 4,400 shares at 19. And then, so, that ended up being a nice winner there. Probably, let's see, from 70, that's almost 50 cents on 4,000 shares. So, that's like $2,000 of profit. And then I sold the rest at 806 and 812. All right, so not the biggest winner there. It didn't break over 820. I thought that maybe it would go back towards the highs, but it didn't. It ended up pulling back and then setting up this ABCD pattern. So this is A, B, C, and D is when we break over the price of point B right there. And that's what you see can happen right in this area. So now at this point, I'm up about $6,000 on the day, or maybe just about $7,000 on the day. All right, and then the last trade on this, I kept it on watch, and as it started to curl up right here and broke over $8, I jumped in at $7.92, $7.90, which is a little unusual that the second order I get filled lower, $8 and $8.12. On this one, I took 9,000 shares. I stepped up to the plate and took a pretty big position, expecting that we would almost definitely break 820 right here. If we broke 820, 850 is the next target, and then $9 is a possibility. So I've got 9,000 shares at an average of about $8, $8.05. I sell 2,500 shares at 825, reduce a little risk. It squeezes up more to 840, 845, and 868, and I'm selling into that squeeze, 826, 834, 854, 849. Lots of small orders, just sort of unwinding the position, and that puts me up $9,125.18. I did have a back of the mind target that this could potentially go to new highs, $9. That didn't end up happening. I also had an order ready to add over 850 if it did a 1 minute micro pullback here, but it didn't. It did a 1 minute micro pullback right here, but it dropped down too much. So I ended up taking my profit on my last shares as it popped up right here to 840. So one of the things I talked about during our workshop last night was the challenge of what do you do when you've got a winning position? I've got 9,000 shares of this stock at 805. So that's right here. So I sort of have two choices. I have three choices. When it squeezes up right here, I can do one of three things. I can sell half of my position right here at about 830 and book $2,000 of profit and adjust my mental stop on the rest of the position at break even. So I'm going to walk away green. That's option number one. Option number two is I hold the whole thing at 806 and keep that $9 target, and maybe if it breaks 9, it goes up to $9.50 and $10, and that obviously would end up being a monster trade. That could be like an $18,000 winner. However, I would have ended up stopping out of the whole position break even, right? So I wouldn't have made the 3,000 that I made. I would have made, I would have been break even. So I would have been sacrificing the small profit, hoping for a bigger winner. And then the third option is that as it's squeezing up, I add to the position, which is like the most aggressive thing to do because I'm taking on even more risk. I go from 9,000 to 12,000 shares, maybe to 15,000, maybe to 18,000. And now I'm going to have a new cost basis of like 830 or 840, holding a huge position. And if it goes up to 950 or 10, I'm looking at a, $25,000 winner potentially. I've done all of those three things at various times. On this particular trade, I was a little concerned about how far it pulled back from 915 down to a low of just about 715. That was a pretty sharp pullback. And this first little setup here didn't work. So I knew that for it to go from 8 all the way back to the highs was a pretty big stretch. So that made me a little nervous about definitely holding the whole position and even about adding. The second thing that I'm certainly aware of is that I'm early in the month right now. It's only the second day of December, and coming into this morning, I really didn't have much of a profit cushion on the month. So my first job is build the profit cushion. Once I have the profit cushion, then I can afford to be a little risky. And you could, of course, say, well, Russ, it's December, and before today, I was already up, almost $500,000 on the year. I can afford to be aggressive. I suppose that's true, but I kind of look at every day and every month as a new day or a new month. I don't really try to say, well, I've got a big cushion so I can afford to be risky. I want every day to be a green day. I trade for income. That's always been, my focus is to make money every day, to walk away green. And I'd rather walk away with $9,000 than walk away break even, knowing I had the potential to make $18,000. I would just prefer to be green consistently. And so today's a day where, with all of these trades, I'm not sure how many there are total, but it looks like one trade there, two, that's the second trade, that's the third trade, that's the fourth trade, the fifth trade, 6 trades today. So like roughly 6 trades, 6 winners. And that's because every time I had 30, 40 cents of profit, I went ahead and sold half the position. It's a little more conservative, but it keeps me consistently green. And as a result, my accuracy is pretty high. Nearly 70% of the time, I'm right. With that kind of accuracy, my confidence gets higher. That makes me feel more comfortable trading with larger positions. And so it's kind of this, positive reinforcement cycle. And it's not to say that on a day where maybe we had a very similar setup like this, but maybe it didn't pull back quite so much. Maybe it kind of pulled back to this area and was hanging out just under the highs. I might have been more aggressive about adding through high of day, knowing it's going to show back up on the high of day momentum scanner as soon as it makes new highs. But because this didn't make new highs right here, it didn't come back up on this high of day scanner that so many traders are going to be using. And so some traders that didn't see it this morning might not have even seen this move and wouldn't have seen it until it broke over 915. So I think I did the right thing here. I was a little more conservative. I took a couple of positions that were more aggressive, but I only did it once I had a cushion on the name. I was willing to risk a little bit of the profit that I'd locked up in exchange for, possibly having a bigger day. And that did end up happening. So, finishing up just under, $10,000 on the day, or whatever, just over 9,000, however you want to look at it. And, it's putting me in really a good spot here. I'm going to be up just about $490,000 on the year and sitting at about $826,000 in the account that I started about 2 years ago with less than $600. So I've got about $173,000 sitting between me and crossing the $1 million mark. And I'm hoping that happens, sometime within the next, maybe 2 months at most. But up now about 10,000 on the month of December. This is a good start to the month. And I've still got a little ways to go. I'd like to be able to make at least $50,000 this month. Hopefully, can end up doing better than that, but 50,000 would be the minimum. So I'm 1/5 of the way there, 2 days into the month, and it's just time to, stay focused, keep trading, and keep, making some money. All right, so that's about it for me. I'm going to be back at 3 p.m. Eastern for our Warrior Pro Mentor session. So I'll see you guys there, Warrior Pro students. And everyone else, I will see you on Thursday morning. The market is closed tomorrow to honor George Bush. So market closed tomorrow, no trading. Chat rooms are going to be closed, but we'll be back at it on Thursday morning, and we'll finish up this week, Thursday and Friday, hopefully with a couple more green trades. Most likely they'll be coming right off these scanners. So keep a close eye on these scans on Thursday and Friday. All right, I hope you guys have a good afternoon, and I will see you all first thing on Thursday morning. All right, bye everyone.
If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.